Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the ABH number 6020 push-pull latch, is what it is. I have all the constituent parts here on my desk, and we're going to go over it. Great little lock. That's what we're dealing with. A 6020 is the function of this lock. It's basically a passage set is what it is. Ubiquitous. You're going to see this installed obviously in hospitals. You'll see it installed in areas by which you need to be able to operate a door without necessarily using your hands and being able to operate the door, open and close it without too much trouble. You're going to want to be able to use an elbow, use a palm in order to be able to get the door open. And a push-pull latch is exactly that. It's a piece of hardware by which you can keep the door latched, like you would be required in a fire-rated application, but be able to do so where you don't have a turning of the wrist, knob, lever sort of trim. Very common in hospitals because of those installations. You need to be able to hit the pad and get in quickly and easily, is the bottom line. Now, the 6020 is a common unit in the sense that its function is passage, in the sense that it's not handed. You've got push-up or pull-down sort of levers. You can mount them in the field without modification to your heart's content. Okay, you can mount your push plates however you like. You're obviously going to have one that's going to be considered a pull and the other that's going to be considered a push. That is obviously governed by which the side of the door you're going to install it on. But you can do this or this. Okay? It's not a problem. ABH is a full-line manufacturer of these items, and they do so. That allows, you know, an item like the 6020 to be used however you want to use it. So again, back to the paddles, you're going to have a push side, you're going to then have the other pull side, and you can mount them up or down however you like. You have to just set the cam, or the spindle I should say, to the proper orientation, but we'll get to that in a moment. This is an easy sort of item to use, understand, and install, and we're going to touch on all that in a moment. So the push-pull can be mounted handles up, handles down, on both sides of the door. One side will be push, one side will be pull, obviously. Available back sets. 2 3/4, obviously very common. 5-inch, probably at least as common. And then the crazy not crazy, and then the less common 7-inch. I don't see 7-inch very often. That's a 7-inch latch bolt. Dimension from the edge of the door to the center of the hole. Now, one way, just to touch on that earlier, with the handles can go up or down. The handle, the hub of the latch bolt can be rotated clockwise or counterclockwise to pull the latch bolt back. So that makes it a very universal type of hardware where you'll appreciate the ease of installation of the ABH item, you know, and possibly you as myself make you partial to the line. Standard or ASA strike. This kit, this model that we have here, is both a satin stainless steel finish, which I haven't mentioned, and it is, of course, available in all of the architectural finishes. Your brass, your bronze, your chromes. Stainless satin finish covers. Back to the strike. 4 7/8 or a 2 3/4 T-strike. You'll see 2 3/4 T-strikes in older sort of installations. Brand new hospitals seem to always have the 4 7/8, but doesn't really matter what it is. It can be provided either way that you specify. All the fasteners are included, and it looks like a whole mess of screws. It really isn't. What you've got is the 4 bolts that we'll go over in a moment to bolt the unit together. You've got the flat head machine screws that will be required to attach the cases down to the operating assemblies. You'll have the screws for attaching that latch bolt to the frame. Wood screws and machine screws are included. And then, of course, you'll have screws to attach the strike to the hollow metal frame. The Yeah, 1224 screws are included with this, not wood screws. So if you have a wood frame, you will have to sort out some screws. I would say number 12 would be appropriate for that flathead. Compact non-handed covers provide maximum clearance between the door and the handle. That is certainly very accurate. These are nice, petite, standard sort of covers. Let's get a tape measure and put some dimensions on this. Overall width of the cover, 2 3/4. Overall height, about 4 3/8. Overall width, about 1 7/8. UL listed for all fire doors, no problem. Fire doors are absolutely the standard that you would see in a hospital. Available again in all the BHMA finishes: brass, bronze, chrome, oil rub, satin, stainless, polished stainless as well. Lead lining is available, and let's get into all the other options. I was about to get into the options unnecessarily early. 1 3/4 doors are standard and is completely ADA compliant. Now, options. There are several items that you need to select when you're ordering this. And it's a bit tedious, I suppose, but the bottom line is we've thrown everything there so that you can configure this unit to be exactly the way that you need. Obviously, telling us the finish is necessary, telling us the back set, the strike type is necessary. Whether or not you need security screws are very common. You might be installing a variant of the push-pull latch from ABH in a timeout room where you're going to need an application like that would certainly require or very likely require security screws so that they can't be tampered with. Very common. The hand is, this is non-handed. There are instances when we need to know the hand. This is on the 6020, it's not one of them. Tell us the hand. It will just save having to reach out should we need it later. The junior cover is basically the item that we've got here, except that this model that I've shown you here is what is, the compact sort of cover that you're going to see. So the reason that you would want this is the compact 2 3/4 cover. The reason that you're going to use this junior cover, and that is what this one is because it will allow a 1/2 inch clearance between the face of the stop and the unit itself. So what that means is, because of the center line dimension, you need to have enough clearance here between the stop face and the cover so that when the door opens, it's going to easily clear without any sort of conflict there. And as a result, it does allow the handles to be mounted in a variety of applications, even, what I mean to say is, even horizontally. Okay. You can get their oversized paddle that sometimes is used on job sites, especially hospitals that would request that. Extended paddles are available as engraved as well. There's an option there to engrave those, push or pull. You can get, the oversized handles. The extended handles you can see as you scroll down below this video. You can see what that looks like. I don't see those often, but you do see those occasionally, and they are required for easier operation, okay, in certain applications. Antimicrobial coating, much more common these days certainly than it ever was in the past, and very, very often is the way that these are ordered. Select roller latch covers, forgive me. It said covers, it's of course conversion if you're taking a roller latch off of a door and converting it to a push-pull latch. That is certainly available. There is a link below this video to a document called Template. The template is going to give you not only an overview of the item, it's going to give you the templating required to drill the door, and it's very simple and straightforward. just to be clear, this can be mounted vertically or horizontally, and this cover does allow that clearance for you to get it installed and not conflict. Certainly not vertically, but horizontally is really what the reference was to. Now, page 1 of the installation instructions calls out all the pieces. You, of course, will get 2 covers. You're going to get your part number 4, your push side handle, and then your part number 8, your pull side handles. There is an arrow that you're going to see on these cases, and that's just telling you the orientation of what that cam plug. Forgive me, got this upside down. So you see the arrow down here, and then you see your cam plug. You've got to get that oriented to the right side so that when this is operated, it will rotate in such a fashion that is compatible with how it's installed, up or down. Or timing the cam plug allows you to install it properly regardless of how you're going to physically attach it to the door and what orientation. You're going to get, of course, your fastener package, your parts 2 and 3 and other parts. Your part 6, of course, your latch bolt I've already shown you. And really, once you have all of your pieces accounted for, no problem. Obviously, this client is installing it in a horizontal fashion because they've got it called out with a 7-inch latch bolt. You'll be able to review the machining aspect, your template. So this will, if you've got a 2 3/4 back set and you've ordered it that way, you're going to use a standard 2 3 2 1/8 inch hole at 2 3/4 back set. You will take note of the 4 holes that you need to drill for this area, and these items are going to literally bolt to each other. You've got the long machine bolts. I don't know if the thread type is called out. It certainly is. They are 1/4 by 2.5 inch pan head truss style screw. It's got a larger head on it. If you have a custom door thickness, which would be very unlikely, let us know. You're going to have some nylon lock nuts on the inside for attaching all that together, and indeed you're going to have, there are 4 of them in there. Even though one of them, I should say, is it could just be an error, or it could be by intention. This has a fixed star washer on the back side of it and is not a nylon style nut. If that is an error, what I would consider it as when you get the unit installed, install it with 1 bolt, test your proper operation, rather than using a nylon lock nut and driving that all the way down and then having to take it all the way off should you need to reposition it. Do it with that 1 non-nylon lock nut first. That would be probably why it would be in there. It's either a mistake or it's for that purpose alone. And then no other parts to take stock of or inventory of. It's all there and included. The 4 holes you can see called out there that you'll need to drill. I'm a fan of not drilling through the door. I'd like to drill from either side and meet in the middle of the door once I've determined that everything is placed properly. It's too easy to get that drill not straight all the way through the door. And a piece of hardware like this needs to be laser beam straight because if this is tipped at all and not completely straight through the door, and then through, of course, the latch bolt here, you'll have the potential for binding, meaning that the spring that is inside of here, which is really what's driving that cam plug back to where to the position that it needs to be in, you may not get safe, reliable operation. So drill the hole straight, and certainly no smaller than the size of 5/16 that they're calling out there. The template will be included. It is a full-size template that can and must be used for installing on the door. Okay. Yep. That's at page 3, and it's included. Page 2 and 3 really is the overview, calling out a reference to the strike. The document's provided there so that you can review it prior to purchase, so that you can confirm that all of your existing application material is going to be compatible with the new hardware that you're buying. And it's, like I said earlier, it's a ubiquitous piece of hardware that you'll see primarily in hospitals, but other applications as well. You'll see it in schools for a similar sort of need. There is, moving to the conclusion here, there is a link below this video to the ABH manufacturers page on our website, which allows you to pull up some handy documents. First and foremost, their full-line product catalog. I'm partial to ABH, and it's because they're located here in Chicago, a suburb of Chicago to be precise. They have a very nimble manufacturing capability, short compared to industry standard. Their lead times are on the short end. They are a comprehensive manufacturer of many items that you're going to see installed when it comes to controlling, well, when it comes to hanging and controlling a door and securing a door. They're excellent at doing that. They have a line of pivot hardware that should you have an occasional need to hang doors with pivots, look at the ABH line before you make a purchase. You're going to find excellent value given specifications. You get a pivot that will be rated for 500 pounds, and you will be pleasantly surprised at the cost. The quality is beyond the need to discuss. It's excellent quality material. There is a cross-reference chart ABH provides, and that is something that is typical for them in many of their products because they are a relatively, compared to their competition, a relatively new line, a new manufacturer in the area of pivots, overhead concealed stop, overhead door control stops, holders, push and pull hardware. They may have been in business for 20 years. I don't know how long it's been, but something in that range. But compared against their competition who have built their brand for a much longer amount of time, they might be playing a little catch-up in that regard. But they provide you that cross-reference so that you can immediately get to their part number based on what you might already be accustomed to. They have a really nice line of overhead holders and stops, which you can see in the catalog. There's a compatibility chart there as well. And that's handy because it allows you to understand that hardware as it pertains to other pieces of hardware, notably door closers. Overhead stops and door closers need to be understood to work compatibly together, and that compatibility chart is provided there for your use. Of course, a reference to their website as well. I'm also partial to ABH. I like their people. They're responsive. They do bend over backwards for you. There are times when they can't, which are not often, but there are times when they can, and they do. And that's my definition of what more can you ask of a manufacturer, that they genuinely try to help every single time that they can. Their continuous aluminum geared hinges is a reason that sets them apart, in my opinion. Not only their pivots, but that material as well. All of their material is heavy duty, classified as heavy duty. When you see the pricing of what their material is at, it could make a convert of you to their product line. And if you are in a position where you have at least an occasional exposure to that line, take a long, hard look at them. You might be very well glad that you did. If you have any questions on the ABH, I don't know what to hold up here. 6020, push-pull latch, or any other ABH product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.